decision making. The question is no longer, which awful thing must I choose? It becomes, okay, how can I find a solution that maximizes both financial freedom and intellectual stimulation?
Precisely. By defining the positive aims, you suddenly create space for a third, maybe a fourth or fifth option that the old avoidance framework just never allowed you to even see.
Because you weren't looking for it.
You were too busy running. Now you're choosing a positive destination instead of just running from danger.
That is incredibly powerful. It changes the whole emotional tone of the decision, doesn't it?
Yeah.
From something governed by dread and scarcity to a choice driven by, like, ambition and possibility. I can feel how the internal pressure would drop instantly when you just stop running.
It frees up so much cognitive resource, all that energy previously spent on defensive thinking. Now it can go towards creative problem solving. How do I get what I want?
Okay, wow. That brings us to our final category then. And this one seems like it causes the most common form of just long-term inertia, failure to launch maybe.
Yeah, this one's very common, the towards away from conflict, or approach versus avoidance.
Approach avoidance. Okay.
So this is the conflict of the desired object, the thing you want, that comes with what feels like an unacceptable price tag attached. You're strongly attracted to a positive goal. That's your approach value. But that very goal is automatically, instantly linked in your mind to an intense desire to avoid something associated with achieving it.
And that something could be an avoidance value itself, or a perceived cost, or just a specific fear, right?
Exactly. A fear, a cost, a negative consequence.
And the consequences here are just massive stagnation, because the desire and the fear are kind of welded together. So the fear acts like a neural emergency brake every single time you try to accelerate toward that goal you want.
That's a perfect way to put it. The brain basically says, wait, achieving X will definitely result in getting Y, and Y is totally unacceptable. So it paralyzes movement towards X.
Right. Give us some examples.
Okay, think about, I really want to find deep, intimate love. That's the towards.
Yeah.
But I'm terrified of being vulnerable and getting hurt again. That's the ig. Away from. Or I want career success, high visibility towards, but I'm absolutely petrified of the criticism and scrutiny that comes with being on a larger stage.
Away from. The desire is strong, but that linked fear just guarantees total inactivity. You stay stuck.
Completely stuck.
Okay, so since the positive motivation, the towards part, is already present here, the solution isn't about changing the goal like in the away one.
Right.
And it's not about integration like the towards one. It has to be about what? Dismantling the link between the goal and the fear.
Yes. You have to address the negative motivation first. That's the critical difference here.
Separate the components.
You got it. Separate them. The technique involves neutralizing or releasing the negative emotion that's become associated with the positive approach value.
How do you do that?
Well, the source material we looked at mentions specific techniques, like from neurolinguistic programming, NLP.
Okay.
But simply put, these are structured mental exercises. They're designed to basically break that automatic emotional linkage. You're essentially teaching your nervous system that the fear is optional. It's not inherent to the goal itself.
Okay, let's use that detailed example from the sources, the one about money and materialism. That feels really common.
It is.
So a person truly wants to earn a lot of money. That's the approach value, the towards. But at the same time, they hold this deep fear of becoming a materialistic, soulless person. That's the avoidance value, the away from.
Right. That fear acts as the brake.
So how does belief therapy or whatever technique address that internal rule? Because there must be a rule in there somewhere, right?
Absolutely. That fear of becoming materialistic is often rooted in an internal rule, a belief statement the person holds, maybe unconsciously. Something like, a lot of money corrupts everyone, or wealthy people are inherently greedy and shallow.
Okay.
This belief system is what the brain uses to justify hitting the brakes every time they start making progress towards wealth.
So the solution requires finding that specific rule, challenging it, and changing it.
Yes. Identify it, challenge it, change it. So if the internal rule is, if I get wealthy, I will become greedy and lose myself. The solution involves showing the brain, convincingly, that you can, in fact, define your relationship with wealth based on your pre-existing positive values, like generosity or contribution.
Ah, so you redefine the outcome of getting wealthy.
Precisely. Instead of wealth automatically leading to greed, the new integrated belief might become something like, I will use my wealth to enhance my existing value of generosity, or I can be wealthy and ethical. Once that rule is changed, once the person truly believes deep down that they can achieve wealth without losing their ethical self-identity, that automatic fear mechanism releases.
And then they can pursue the financial goal without that constant internal paralysis.
Exactly. It's a conflict rooted in belief, so the solution is often emotional therapy and belief change work.
Wow. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground today. Moving from those pleasant dilemmas all the way to the truly paralyzing ones. So what does this all mean? Let's try and synthesize this.
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that internal confusion, that feeling of being stuck, often masquerades as a lack of discipline or motivation when it's really not.
It's a structural problem
It has a structural problem. We've laid out 3 distinct types of value conflict, and crucially, each one requires its own specific kind of treatment. You can't mix and match.
Right. So the towards conflict, the two good things problem.
That gets solved through looking at your hierarchy, maybe making a tough choice, or using that more sophisticated parts integration, finding a third integrated path where both values win.
Okay. Then the away conflict, that really painful no-win situation.
That demands a radical shift in your whole motivational direction, changing the entire framework from just escaping problems to actively aiming for positive, desired goals.
Got it. And finally, the towards away from conflict, the one that causes paralysis.
That's solved primarily through emotional work and belief system correction, separating that highly desirable positive goal from the negative fear or cost that's gotten unfairly automatically linked to it.
So just understanding which of these 3 precise boxes your internal problem fits into.
Yeah.
That knowledge itself is maybe the most powerful and liberating tool.
Absolutely. It stops you from just flailing around trying generic solutions that don't fit. It allows you to select the single appropriate method for treatment.
And the ultimate goal, really, regardless of which conflict type it is freedom, isn't it? Freedom from the limitations imposed by these clashing values, allowing you to live a life that's driven more by your most genuine desires, not by internal friction.
Well said. Which brings us, I think, to our final thought for you, the listener, to maybe chew on.
Yeah.
Value conflicts often make us feel like we have to choose between who we are right now and who we want to be. So considering the 3 types of conflict we talked about today, the approach, the avoidance, and the approach avoidance, which of those 3 patterns do you find yourself defaulting to most often when you're faced with a really difficult choice?
Ooh, interesting question.
And what might that default reveal about your primary motivational direction? Are you fundamentally driven towards goals most of the time, or are you primarily motivated away from problems? Something to think about until next time we dive deep.